All right, title of my lesson is First with God. And this is going to be a sermon on friendship. We like friendship, right? So you can't go wrong with a sermon on friendship. All right, a shout out to all my live stream brothers and sisters, those of you who are not in the building with us this morning. I love you, I miss you, and can't wait until we're all able to be back together again. And so I just wanted to make sure that you guys were acknowledged and that you know that you are deeply, deeply loved. All right, so let's do this. Let's go ahead and turn over in our Bibles, if you haven't already, to 1 Samuel chapter 18. And I'm going to get my spectacles out here so I can focus in on my very small print Bible. Beginning in verse 1, it says, After David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. And from that day Saul kept David with him and did not let him return to his father's house. And Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as himself. And Jonathan took off his robe that he was wearing and he gave it to David, along with his tunic and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. Turn over to chapter 20, beginning in verse 1. It says, Then David fled from Naioth to Ramah and went to Jonathan and asked, What have I done? What is my crime? How have I wronged your father that he is trying to take my life? Never, Jonathan replied. You're not going to die. Look, my father doesn't do anything great or small without confiding in me. Why would he hide this from me? It's not so. But David took an oath and he said, Your father knows very well that I have found favor in your eyes. And he has said to himself, Jonathan must not know this, or he will be grieved. Yet, as surely as the Lord lives and as you live, there is only a step between me and death. And Jonathan said to David, Whatever you want me to do, I will do for you. Verse 16. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, May the Lord call David's enemies to account. And Jonathan and David reaffirmed his oath out of love for him, because he loved him as he loved himself. You know, this morning, I want to talk about friendship. You know, I've been thinking a lot about this lately, since one of my best friends for over 7 years is going to be leaving my side. Moving away soon from 7 years of partnering with me to lead Campus View Church. And that's hard. It's hard because Kyle isn't just a guy who works alongside me in the ministry. It's hard because he's my friend. And, and it made me realize just how special and how important our friendships within the church really are. They're very special. And I believe that we could all use a good lesson on friendship right now, especially during this very difficult time. You know, friendship within the kingdom of God, the church, should be unlike any other friendship out there. Any other friendship that you've experienced in the world. You know, friendship in the kingdom or in the church, they're meant to be different than all other friendships. And they're meant to be different for a reason. And that's because of what friendships in the church are built on. You know, ever since it was official and Kyle and Kristen sat down with Stacy and I in the office back there and revealed to us what a difficult decision it was for them to leave Gainesville, but that they had decided to take the job in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Ever since that time, I've really battled with a lot of different emotions, a lot of different thoughts. There are times I'm like, I'm fine, and then there's times like, and so just battling these thoughts and these feelings and these emotions. And, 7 years is a long time to serve with someone. Part of me wants Kyle to leave. Go! Get out of here. Say, dang, Jared. Part of me wishes that they had decided to stay. Part of me is really, really sad. Part of me is extremely excited. You know, the best way for me to illustrate what it's like for me is through interpretive dance. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do it to you. I wouldn't do it to Kyle. No, you're not going to get an interpretive dance from me this morning. Hey, that hurts. That hurts. But instead, I found something else. Right there. Yeah. This is how bad it is. When I found that clip, I'd just start crying. Anyway, I want Kyle to stay because I trust him. That's why I want him to stay. I know he has my back. I want him to stay because I can rely on him. I can give him anything and it's done. I say, Kyle, I need this. Done. I want Kyle to stay because my weaknesses are his strengths. And he, as a ministry leader, the evangelist, he makes me look good. He cleans up behind me in such a way that just makes me look really, really good. I want Kyle to stay because he's my loyal friend. But I want Kyle to leave because he should be leading his own church. And now maybe you're thinking, well, Jared, why don't you quit? Let him lead. And trust me, I'm sure the thought has crossed some of your minds, okay? But sorry, that wasn't God's plan. You're stuck with me, all right? But, I want Kyle to leave because I think that he's going to grow. He and Kristen are going to grow in ways that they never would be able to grow if they were to stay here. Stacy and I experienced a lot of amazing growth as young ministers when we faced new challenges and we moved from city to city. I want Kyle to leave because Kyle and Kristen's heart is to go and tackle something new. And I want to get behind that heart that they have. I want them to leave because I believe that the brothers and sisters in Ann Arbor, Michigan need them. They need them. And I want Kyle to leave because he's my friend. You say, come on, Jared, pull it together. But I guarantee you he's a mess back there. So all of my thoughts and emotions regarding all of this stems from the friendship that Kyle and I have. And Proverbs 18:24 says, a man of many companions comes to ruin, but there is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. And that's who Kyle has been to me, or for me, for the past 7 years. You know, God has built and designed us to be relational beings. We were designed that way. We were built that way, to have friendships, to have people in our lives that stick closer than a brother, stick closer than a sister. God has built us that way. But what does that mean? And so we go to the expert sources on friendship. That's right, there are experts out there on friendship. And where do we find those experts? Well, we Google them, correct? Yep. So, BetterHelp.com. I Googled, friendship and what friendship really means. And BetterHelp.com says a true friend has your back. A true friend is authentic and honest with you. Well, they accept you for who you are. They want what is best for you. They don't abandon you. Lifehack.com says they support you in all of your endeavors. True friendship, no matter what, loves your dorky personality. I don't know about that. True friendship forgives you for anything, always has your back, lets you explore your interests no matter what. True friendship constantly keeps in contact, I guess. And they keep your secrets. Yeah, maybe. I guess so. I'm not sure. That might be okay. Might be good. Might not be. But that's what lifehack.com says. Oh, and they make time for you. The HuffPost says this, that friendship pushes us to be more accepting of ourselves. They call us out when we're wrong. They're always present. A friend is always present. I am a bad friend. They really listen. They support us through adversity. They keep our stress in check. They keep us humble. They have our backs. There it is again. I think all three of them says they have your back. They make the friendship a priority. Again, I think I'm a bad friend. And they practice forgiveness. And they make us want to be better people. That's the HuffPost. And then GoodNet.com says friendship is an effortless connection in which two people understand each other when simply being themselves. And when I first read that, I was like, yeah, I guess, yeah. Friendship is effortless. No. But this is the Googling of experts on friendship. Pretty much all of my most trusted friendships have been forged and hammered out. They did not come effortlessly. As a matter of fact, my best friendships have had to be hammered out. Friendship is biblical. But friendship in the Bible is not altogether defined the same way that maybe we would see it defined in some Google search. In case you hadn't noticed, I am an extrovert. Did you guys know that? Yeah, I am an extrovert. I like to be around people all the time. Some extroverts like to be the center of attention or the life of the party. No, not me. Now, I admit that had been my MO in my younger years. But as an extrovert, I would tend to look at a good friend as more as somebody who is always available for me, always available to me. and who like to do the things that I like to do. Someone I had a lot in common with. That's how I would, as an extrovert, define friendship. If you can't have fun, if you can't be out of yourself, if you can't be just a little crazy, there's no way you and I are going to be friends. That's not biblical friendship. Do you know what else isn't biblical friendship? Facebook friendship. That's not a biblical friendship. You say, oh man, Jared, really? Did you have to go there? Because I've got 1,972 friends. And you're telling me that's not like the friendship that I should plant my feet into? No. You know, it's funny how we call it our Facebook friends, and yet we barely even know a fourth of them that we're friends with. Or probably, less than a fifth or a sixth or a tenth. HuffPost, as I was kind of going through there reading about friendship, there was an article talking about Facebook and friendship, and just sort of how that's redefined friendship for us in this day and age. And I want to read this article. It says, we use the word friend very loosely in our society. Dictionaries define it as attached by affection or esteem. You can usually count on those, but you can usually count those on one hand. Acquaintance is often a better description of a relationship, but it sounds awkward and it sounds cold. This is my acquaintance. But Facebook has redefined the word to include people you worked with 20 years ago, but haven't seen since. People from high school that you weren't even friends with then are now your friends on Facebook. And someone who you gave your business card to 12 minutes earlier. And of course, people you simply don't know are your friends. It should probably be called Facebook connections, not Facebook friends. So don't let Facebook be the standard of what you consider friendship, as many people do. Anybody in here like to have fun? Yeah. No? Joseph shook. I saw you doing this. Buddy, we're going to have fun. I like to have fun. I like playing games. Actually, not really. I mean, I do with my family, but I really don't like playing games with other people and other families. I knew Hilton was going to react to that. No, I don't. And so now you kind of know if there's ever hey, we're going to play games, we're going to come together, we're going to play life, we're going to play Sorry, if we're going to play Monopoly, whatever. And if I say, I've already got something planned, that's partial truth. Now, I do like playing games with my nuclear family, with my wife and my kids, but I don't really like playing it with other people. I do enjoy going out to dinner with friends, though. Did it last night, went out and had dinner with a few couples here in the church, and we had a great time. We were celebrating Rachel Chris's birthday, and so that was very exciting, and I really enjoy doing that. I've gone hiking with some of the brothers in the church. We've gone to the Appalachian Trail, and we have had an incredible time, living in the wild wilderness, and hunting for our food, and foraging for plants that are edible. That's actually not true. We buy those little prepackaged dried meals. But anyway, I enjoy doing that. I enjoy spending that time with those brothers. Just last month, Stacy and I, John and Jeannie's son, and all of our children, we went camping together, and that was rough, especially since it was at Disney. But, we had a great time together. A few years ago, the Sun family and the Robinson family went and saw the Imagine Dragons concert together. It was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed it. These experiences, they are enjoyable. Enjoyable experiences, but they do not define friendship for me. The Suns are some of our dearest friends, but not because we've done all these things together. If we'd never done those things, I believe that our friendship would be just as strong and just as meaningful to me and Stacy. Let me go back to Kyle. He and I have never gone camping together. As a matter of fact, when the guys and I have gone up to the Appalachian Trail, Kyle's not come once. I'm offended. He and I have never gone camping. Our families have never gone to Disney together. Kyle and I have never gone fishing, although Jimmy Brunson's been trying to get Kyle and I together out on a boat fishing for a long time. But we've never done that. A few times in 7 years, we've gotten together just to kind of chill and relax in the living room and talk and chit-chat but we've never done all those things. But Kyle is still one of my best friends. Shocking, isn't it? It's the same with Randy Scott or with Alan Henry or J.P. Tynes. There are others. There's Jason Chris and Hilton Soto. I mentioned Jimmy Brunson. There are others of you. Don't get your feelings hurt if I didn't say your name. But these are my friends. And they're not my friends because of all the fun that we've had together. Because of all the different things that we've done, or because we've beaten each other in a game of crazy eights. They are my friends because our friendship is tied to our relationship with God. That's why they're my friends. They're my friends because they've helped me to be a better man spiritually. That's why they're my friends. How would you define Jesus' friendship with Peter? I mean, do you see, is there anywhere in the Bible where you would see Jesus and Peter playing a board game together? Now, maybe they did. Maybe they just didn't write about it in the Gospels. But if it was so important that was something that we should know that they did, don't you think it would be written in the Gospels? What kind of friendship do you see there? Well, Peter's best friend called him Satan. I mean, what? That would be. If you're my friend, you call me Satan, we're going to have words. How would you define Jesus as a friend to any of the disciples? What do you see in the friendship that you read about, that you look at in the Bible? Bless you. In John chapter 15, Jesus is talking to his disciples. He says, I no longer call you servants. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. He says, you are my friend because I'm making known to you the things that I have learned from God. You're my friend because I am in a relationship with you that is a spiritual relationship. When we look at one of the greatest friendships in all of the Bible, David and Jonathan, that friendship wasn't forged through just hanging out and having a good time and playing frisbee golf, although I know frisbee golf is fun. Max and Dom came over the other day and they put that little cage with the chains on it. I don't even know what you call it. And then these little weird frisbees. And they were just say you want, and so we're all in my yard and we're throwing these little discs into the little basket with the chain, and I was really good for having never played it, right, Dom? That didn't sound too confident. The friendship that David and Jonathan had, it wasn't forged because they went camping together or they, shared some of the same hobbies. It wasn't a Google friendship or a Facebook friendship. Their friendship was forged through their relationship with God. 1 Samuel chapter 20, beginning in verse 41, it says, David bowed down before Jonathan 3 times with his face to the ground. Then they kissed each other and they wept together, but David wept most. And Jonathan said to David, go in peace, for we have sworn friendship with each other in the name of the Lord. We have sworn friendship with each other, not in the name of a great hobby or not in the name of Facebook or not in the name of, hey, you make me laugh a lot, but in the name of the Lord, saying the Lord is witness between you and me and between your descendants and mine forever. Then Jonathan went back to town. It's clear as we read the story of David and Jonathan that what enabled their friendship to exist is their individual relationship with God. Both men were faithful first to God, which produced in them a true friendship, a real friendship, a friendship of substance. It's the same, really, with any relationship that you and I have. Whether it's your roommates, whether it's in marriage, whether it's with your sibling, or in your dating relationship, God, for these relationships to work the right way, the way God designed these relationships, these friendships to work, it has to be built on the foundation of your personal relationship with God. Last night, Chloe came over, and Chloe and Reese have this relationship that's just fun to watch. They're just they're best friends, and they're with each other all the time. And, Chloe comes in the door, and Reese is like, yeah, she goes over, they hug each other, and they're, it's like, hey, fam, it's just sweet to watch. And, they just, and so I'm just watching, I'm just observing as a dad, and I'm just like, yeah, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. So then I thought, well, as I'm going through this lesson, I go in the back and in the bedroom, and they're just kind of hanging out. And I said, hey guys, you have a great friendship. Yeah. So what makes your friendship so great? And it was amazing because Reese said, Dad, turn over in your Bible to... No, I'm kidding. Just joking. That would have been really cool, right? No, she just looks at Chloe, and Chloe looks at her, and they smile real big, and they look at me. I don't know. But as their dad, I know. I know it's because they love God, because I see it in that relationship. I got 2 quick points. My first point is not just like you. Not just like you. In 1 Samuel 18:1, it says, we've read it, but it says, after David had finished talking with Saul, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. Now, the English Standard Version says it this way. It says, as soon as he had finished speaking to Saul, it says, the soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. Now, there's a lot of backstory here in the story of David and Jonathan. Now, Saul, Jonathan's dad, was the first king of Israel to whom God was ready to replace because he had not been faithful to God. David was a shepherd boy. But he was God's choice to be Saul's successor. Now, Jonathan was a man of God, but that's not who God had in mind to succeed his father as king. It was David. Now, Jonathan, who would have been the successor, and in many cases with many men, there would have been a move to try to ensure that succession to the throne, but not with Jonathan. Why? Because Jonathan was a man of God. And David and Jonathan, they were very different. They grew up very different. They had different experiences in their lives. On the outside, Jonathan was not a man like David. On the outside, David was not a man like Jonathan. It's astonishing how God gives us this story to show us that our greatest opportunity at friendship, the greatest opportunities that we sometimes have at friendship, might not be with a person who is just like you. As a matter of fact, oftentimes, some of the greatest friendships that are forged and built are with people that are not like us at all. And that's beautiful. Jonathan grew up as the crown prince, the firstborn son of a king. He grew up royalty, special, known, privileged. David grew up a poor shepherd boy, the last-born son of a farmer, a nobody, an unknown, without privilege. And yet God brought them together and gave us one of the greatest examples of friendship of all time. It's beautiful. We think sometimes as we seek out friendship that we need to find that guy, we need to find that girl that is just like me. They need to look just like me. They need to sound just like me. They need to come from the same experiences just like me. They need to think just like me. Just like me, they need to be athletic. And just like me, they need to enjoy the arts. And just like me, they need to be white. And just like me, they need to be black. That's going to be my best friend. Just like me, they need to be young. Well, if that were the case, Jimmy Brunson could not be my friend. Just like me, they need to be older. And I could go on and on. You know, we think sometimes if you're not just like me, we can't have a deep friendship. You know, pretty much all of the men that I have mentioned this morning who are my friends are not just like me. They're not just like me. And if we think that, well, then the story of David and Jonathan must be a mistake. Except for this. Except David was just like Jonathan. And Jonathan was just like David. And it's why their friendship was able to be forged. Point number 2, just like you. So David and Jonathan were so different, and yet the reason their friendship was able to work was that they were just alike. They were just, wait, what are you talking about? They're different? They're alike? They were so different, but they were also so much alike in the area that mattered the most. They were both bold, faithful men who put their trust in God. True friendship works when God is at the center of our lives with respect to those who seek friendship. When God is at the center of your life, you're going to have amazing friendships. They will happen. I truly do believe that. Would we even be talking about these two guys this morning if one of them had not been faithful to God? We wouldn't be talking about David and Jonathan. Would we be talking about these two men or talking about David and Jonathan if Jonathan cared more about his father's legacy and reputation or being king than he did about honoring God with his life? Would we be talking about David and Jonathan? No. Would we be talking about David and Jonathan if David hadn't boldly and faithfully faced Goliath on behalf of God and God's people, Israel? No. We wouldn't be talking about it. Jonathan saw with his own eyes what David had done, and he heard with his own ears what David faithfully said to his father Saul, the king. And then Jonathan said to himself, Jonathan, David is just like you. That's a man I can be friends with. But again, not because he had the same upbringing, not because he looked the same, not because he, had the same life experiences, but because what he heard in David was that he was a man of God. When Jonathan heard David say the things that he said to King Saul, it says that in that moment, Jonathan became one in spirit with David. We desire friendship. I know all of us in this room, you can say, I don't need any friends. You liar. You know you do. You can put on that, face of, I got this on my own. No, you don't. We desire friendship. Introverted, extroverted, we all desire it. We were built to desire it. We desire companionship, but oftentimes we don't feel that we have it, or we can't seem to find it. We can feel that people just aren't reaching out to us in friendship. They're not making an effort to be our friend. They're not exemplifying what it means to be a friend in the church. And I can understand that. And I know that that can be hard. But this is where I would want to encourage you to look inward if this is you. It's hard for you to be somebody to be a friend with if you yourself aren't close to God. It's hard. And you need to ask yourself the question, is it hard for people to be knit to me? To become one in spirit with me? If so, what can you do about that? What can you do about it? It's hard to be connected in friendship if we ourselves are not connected in friendship with God. If we're not connected in friendship with Jesus. And Jesus says back in John chapter 15, he says, you're my friends if you do what I command. He says, if you want to be my friend, Jesus says, if you want to be friends with me, you need to do what I command. You need to listen to me. You need to live the way that I am calling you to live. You do that, then you're going to open up yourself to true friendship in the church. My strongest friendships are with those who are friends with God. Men who are God-focused, who are kingdom-focused. That doesn't mean I don't try to reach out and, try to connect. Sometimes it's hard. But my strongest friendships are with those who are God-focused, kingdom-focused, focused on the mission that we've been given to seek and save the lost. Men who are committed to the church, who are committed to growing and to changing and to honoring God with their lives. Those are my greatest friendships. Men who are committed to the church, who are open and striving to please God. Those are my greatest friendships. It's why Kyle and I have become such great friends through the years. Stacy and I are married, but she's my best friend. Not because we're married, but because she is a woman after God's own heart. That's why we're best friends. That's why we have that best friend relationship. For our marriage to work, we both have to be friends with Jesus, with God. I was really encouraged, hopefully they don't mind me sharing this, but I was really encouraged by Randy and Teresa. We had gotten together, a little group yesterday to talk, and one of the things they shared was just since the pandemic started, just every day, 242 days. I can't even remember what how many days it is, but 240 something consecutive days. They decided that in the morning we're going to wake up and we're just going to pray together and read our Bibles together and talk and be open about our marriage and our lives. And they've been doing that. And what a great example that is for our elder and for his wife. And that's friendship because it's built on God. 2020 is bringing out a lot in the church. It's bringing out a lot in our own lives, and God is revealing some things in our character. And at times like this, friendships are extremely important. Wouldn't you agree with that? It's kind of a murmur. Yeah, I think so. Friendships are extremely important. And some of us have truly benefited from friendships that we have in the church during this time. But some of us may feel lonely. We may feel isolated or without the kind of friendships that we long for. Some may not feel knit together with anybody in the church. If that's you, I'm not saying that there are not others who may not share the blame in that, but I would encourage you to consider how you would define friendship, how you would define it, and then compare it to what God shows us about friendship in the Word of God. David and Jonathan found one another even though they were very different. They both were the same when it came to their friendship with God. They were able to be knit together because they were knit together, they were knit to God. How is your friendship first with God? Because that's where it starts. It starts first with God. Work on that, and I truly believe that you will see meaningful friendships in your life forged in time, but first with God. Amen.